I'd like to welcome everybody. Got a few new faces in the house we'd like to see. We don't have a whole bunch on the agenda today. A few items, we've got a couple people want to speak, and that's it. Under old business, Cedric, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Phil?
No.
Junior?
No.
Joe, you have anything?
No. Well, I guess could cover that old business. About the house over here, Sweeney's, Joe was gonna check on the legalities of getting it tore down and everything. And he talked to Ron Cross, and I guess there's a program you can, with the county, we'll go in like half and help tear one down if that's something we're interested in. He's gonna check in on all the details of it.
Yeah, if he gives you a price.
Yeah. That's what he said. He didn't know how much it would cost to take it down, but the county would pay half.
In the abandoned house?
Yeah.
Or just that one?
I mean, there's some hoops to jump through and make it legal, but he said it can be done. He's gonna find out what all we do have to do.
I'm gonna try to talk, if we get that contractor here, try to talk him to do it, if there's any way we can. If it's legal for us, just knock it down. Like I said, he advised we can't even go on that project, put it on the upside.
No.
Do we get her okay?
So that's something to think about.
If there's a hole, this, it don't cost too much, we can look into it. That's been sitting on an eyesore for years. Nobody else have anything under old business? Rob's stuck on a job site in Indianapolis, but he said that he checked on the fence that's been put up down at 117 West Connerville Street. It's not a new fence, it's a replacement of a fence. And he got with a neighbor, the lady's put it up as Judith Stevens. He got with his neighbor, Patrick McCann. He said he has no problem with her putting it up, and that's the only property that goes be as long as it's off 2 foot, and he said it's okay to approve that. You got a permit number on here? I don't see the permit, Chairman.
I think we wait till approval. I think we wait until approval before actually done the permit part of it.
All right. Got the parcel number, that's good enough.
Yeah.
So I'll entertain a motion to go ahead and approve this, to put fence 117 West Connerville Street.
I'll make the motion, we approve.
I'll second.
Motion been made and second to install, go ahead and approve the application for installing a fence at 117 West Connerville Street, Milton, Indiana. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Okay, under new business, anybody have anything? Cedric?
No.
Phil? Junior? There's a lot that we'd love to talk about in the new business, but just it's things that are promised. It's not a given thing now. There's a lot of things we can't talk about, but there's a lot in the works, and some people know what I'm talking about. But I hope that if a new board comes on, they follow through with it right down the line. But you know, everybody be informed before the time comes anyway. Hopefully some of it will be true before election time, so that's something that we want to think about. But we are working on the project for every dime we get in town of Milton. It might not show what we really are. Okay, anybody, nobody else has anything under new business?
For the building permit.
Miss Amy is going to speak tonight. You're up, young lady.
I've heard that there's been several questions about the lovely fun fair that's going to happen at the school lot. I just want to clarify that the $25 fee that is charged to the vendors Every penny of that is going into it, it's not going into anybody's pocket. $100 for the porta pot, just several different things. My daughter's bought 50 backpacks with supplies to hand out to the first 50 kids. She also told me that if somebody from the fire department was here, thank them again for taking on the $100 for the bounce house. And she's still looking for vendors to try to fill a lot, but she has quite a few right now, just waiting on applications to return.
Well, there was just a concern, I haven't heard of the negative, there was concern about the $25 fee, being charged on the school parking lot, and where was those funds going? And I told myself, I know that the next $10 that's going to go to the, if I'm not mistaken, what you guys told us over there, me and Rob, was going to the community, the school up here.
Yes.
Then the rest of it would be, after their extension, would be put into I don't know if it was
It's going into a kitty for the years to come.
well, that's what I meant to say, I just can't think of the right word. They would
Yeah.
put money to start, they're going to keep this going every year, and they was putting the money, opening an account to put the excess money, after their expenses are paid for next year's, and then in conjunction with the fire department, we're going to put on like a community day or whatever next year, so I think it's a good thing. But that's the only question. I haven't heard a negative remark from anybody. I don't know about anybody else here, but I haven't heard that there was the question of the money, and I'm not going to get into none of that.
It's all going right into it. It's not like she's out here trying to make money off of people. Has her own booth. She paid her $25.
Sure.
It's all going back right into the community. $10 each vendor goes to the school for the underprivileged kids that can't afford a haircut or shoes or whatever they decide to spend it on. And the expenses, like I said, the expenses of the porta pot, which is $100, and it all adds up.
Well, people don't know it. It's her daughter that's one that's putting this on. In conjunction, the fire department's helping out. Her other daughter passed away, and her sister's one that's putting this on. The last Milton days that the fire department had, they done it in memory of her, like a dedication to her. And this girl come up and said, I want to give something back to the town of Milton, for honor of my sister. And that's great. I think it is. I think it's something that the community, we all get to go by, because I had never met the young lady, didn't know her from Adam's house cat, till they met Rob and I over here in the park, and give the okay, because it's in 3 days. The fire department's fully involved in that, and somebody had a question, shouldn't have went before the board? No. When the fire department tries to raise funds, they run a boot drives, that don't come before us, so, we kind of give them a leeway to do, kind of help themselves, and I'm glad he told me David had either 13 or 14 firemen back on the fire department, so I'm tickled to death about that. That's better than the 7 we had 3 weeks ago. So if anybody else has any questions, that's all I know. I'm sure that Amy will be able to answer them for you.
And if you have questions and I can't answer them, she told me to tell you that her email's on that flyer. Email her, she'll try to answer to the best of her ability.
How's you got a lot of vendors coming, or pretty good?
Yeah, she has quite a few. I'm one. She's recruited us. She's recruited her daughter, her sister-in-law. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Well, I'm great. Anything that you put this community on the line, get people here, that's good for the community.
And she also said to remind everybody that that's going to be the day for the community-wide yard sale, if they want to do that.
Oh Lord, the people come for yard sales, that's for sure. Get on 40 when you have those. Well, does anybody have any questions for Amy or any of us about that situation before we move on? Amy, thanks for showing up, and
She
word of
couldn't be
thanks and
here.
gratitude to your daughter for
Yeah.
thinking about us anyway.
She was gonna be here, but her son got called today and is at practice baseball tryouts for a travel team, so she couldn't make it.
Poor Amy.
August,
The next,
August 5th.
are you done? Okay. Next one is Town Marshal Tom Gosselin. Tom, you're up.
All right. Good evening. First of all, for those of you that don't know me, I am Tom. I'm the new marshal. And I just want to say I'm actually here to talk a little bit about town ordinances. But beforehand, I want to say how much I appreciate the warm welcome that I've received from the community. And the support from town council has been amazing. And that's really important. I don't need to tell you all that been a little bit of turbulence, recently in terms of law enforcement in the community. And so one of the things that I set out to do is try to bring some stability and initiate some programs, make law enforcement a visible part of your community. I think that's really important, and I think that's what you all want. That's what I hear every time I see people is, hey, we want to, and it's interesting, I'll see somebody and they'll say, will you please work during the days? We don't want somebody every night. And then I'll see somebody else and they'll say, would you please work at night? We don't want somebody every day. So, but I take all that into consideration. And what I love is the fact that people aren't afraid to tell me what is important to them. So I'm working hard to make sure that I listen and I hear what you're saying. And I want you all to know that I know very well that I work at your pleasure and that I'm here to serve the community and to protect the community. And I take that very seriously. So again, I really appreciate for those of you who've reached out, introduced yourselves, made me feel welcome. It's fantastic. I've been nothing but thrilled with the response I've received from the community. So next big thing is just getting more people out there that know that we have law enforcement now and that feel comfortable with coming and talking to me. So spread the word. I'm very approachable. I love to talk. I love to hear what you have to say. So please let people know, give me a call. Our phone is operational now. It's been publicized already a couple different places. We'll continue to publicize it. Even if I'm not on duty, if I'm available, I'll be glad to answer it. No problem at all. So thank you for that. With that, I wanted to talk just for a moment about the town ordinances. I will say, so one of the first things I set out to do was to go through the existing town ordinances, and kudos to the work that was put in on these previously. These are already in very, very good shape. There are a couple of recommendations I'll come to the council with down the road, maybe for some things that maybe need tweaked or dialed in my opinion, and see what your thoughts are. But all in all, it's a very good set of town ordinances. So not sure how old it is or when the last time it was updated, but it's very solid. In the process of doing that, I wanted to sort of codify or solidify the process for town ordinance violations. So I'll call your attention to the first attachment that I gave you, which is labeled warning, town ordinance warning, and the warning is bolded at the top. So sort of the intent with this is once you're identified as having violated a town ordinance, you'll get this letter. And also, if possible, if you're actually at the residence or at the vehicle, whatever the town ordinance violation is, we'll have a conversation about it, and we'll talk about why you're in violation and what you need to do to abate or fix the problem. At that time, when you're given this letter, you have 10 days, according to the ordinance process that you have in place now, to solve the problem, to fix the issue. And I think that's very fair. So you're having verbal, if at all possible, plus a written notification telling you which ordinance you're violating and giving you 10 days to fix it. And within that 10 days, you get it fixed, come to town, come to the town office, clerk's office, or come to the marshal's office and say, hey, it's fixed, here's pictures, or come on by and look at it, Tom, what have you. We'll move on with our lives. Great. So that's sort of how it's intended to go. If that doesn't solve the issue, then the next step would be the actual violation, which is the next handout that you'll see. That town violation is civil, and there's a fee or a fine associated with it, which is already pre-designated in your ordinances. So each ordinance violation is associated with its own dollar amount in terms of fine or penalty. And then they're given 14 days, I believe, memory serves, to pay that. If that doesn't happen, then it goes, or if it's disputed, then it goes to Hagerstown Court, and Hagerstown Court is who we're currently using right now, both for traffic violations and citations, as well as ordinances. We have some options there, but I think that that's the best option for us right now. Certainly, if someone has other ideas, I'm happy to hear it, but I like that the lady that runs the town court program over there is a longtime Milton resident, Ann Smith, which I was thrilled about. When I went over to introduce myself over there, she said, "Oh my gosh, I'm Annette Smith, and I live at such and such," and so, she off to the races then, talking about things we have in common. So I think it's a great venue for us to do that. So that's what the second one's about. So moving on to the violations. I did find 2 different copies of violations, and they are fines, and they are vastly different. So as you get a chance, maybe someone can, and it doesn't need to happen necessarily in tonight's meeting, but I'd ask that you all have a look at these 2 differences and see if maybe one was just way older than the other one and got left in my ordinance book, or if it was a different town council that maybe had a different idea about the costs. But we need to figure out which one.
It should have been replaced in your book.
Okay, so one of these should be
The higher
current.
amount is the newer one.
The higher amount's the new
Yeah,
one.
because the fines.
Okay.
You got 2 years ago. Yeah.
With that being said, the violations first violation for many of these are $250. That's a substantial violation, so I think it's very important that we make sure everyone agrees on our process and that everyone has plenty of time to solve whatever ordinance violation exists. Before I move on, any questions about sort of what I've designed and outlined or laid out here for a process once a town ordinance is violated? Seem reasonable to everyone? All right. Okay, so thank you for clarifying that on the dollar amounts. So again, the process, you're going to be warned, both in writing and if plausible, we'll have a conversation about. That won't always be possible. For example, if the owner of the residence lives out of town somewhere, we may have to serve by mail and may not have a phone number for them. So there are scenarios where you would not be able to do that. But in that case, we'll go the extra mile to make sure, number one, maybe we need to take a look at that 10-day time and make it 10 days from receipt of the letter, and then make the letter delivered in some sort of trackable format so that we're being fair. So there's some things like that. We'll work all that out. But again, I think that's very fair. And that's after you cite, you have 14 days to either resolve the fine or dispute it in Hagerstown Court. And there's a process. And by the way, I reached out and introduced myself to Joe Lips, counsel for Milton today. Very, very nice guy. We have a meeting set up tomorrow so that he and I can put our heads together and discuss some of the legalities. But again, it looks like someone did their homework and it's all pretty well codified here in the current ordinances that you have. The last thing I would say is it looks like it's probably been a minute since some of the violations have been addressed. So put your minds at work and think of some of the areas in town maybe where they need some immediate attention, and please get with me and let me know what those areas are. I'm sure as I speak right now, it's rattling around in some of your minds. It's what I'm here for. So and now we have this in place, so I'll go out and start knocking on doors and talking to those folks and seeing what we can do to rectify the situation and get the process started. But hopefully it'll just be a conversation initially, and we can all work together to get it resolved. So with that said, I'll open it up to any questions for me that you all may have.
Very clear.
Thanks for giving me a minute, I appreciate it.
Thanks for that.
Thanks for having you.
Anything from the fire department?
We just gotta bring it up against, to the board and trustees on making Richie the permanent chief.
Okay.
I have
Sure.
a question, John.
How many of those new firefighters you got can actually go out on runs?
The majority of them,
Yeah.
there's like two or three of them that still have to get their mandatory before they can start making runs.
So you still get how many out on the runs?
We can send 11.
A lot of these come back from different departments. Some come back from Cambridge.
Is there a roster?
Yeah, we got it stated.
We need to get that to Terry if you can. Got time to add him in, make sure that he's on file over here.
Right.
And then you got, you have access to it. And those,
You gonna vote on that, chief?
hi,
You gonna vote on that, chief? Well,
Well-
you can take it to the township.
we're gonna take it to the township. We should do it together, shouldn't we?
Yeah, you can do it, then they can do it.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'll have to have a big meeting.
Well, it don't hurt to have me. You got more to do.
That'd be easier that way, so.
Alright. Well, y'all have you heard that all the firemen voted Richard to be chief. Does anybody have a problem with that? Or we should let the public speak too, because, I mean, it's gonna be the fire chief. That's Richard's son.
Richard Pollard Jr.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's Rich Potter Jr. He's been on there, what, 20 years?
30.
30 years?
It seems like he's that old.
I know. 63, if you don't hold on.
Yeah.
He's in the 50s, man.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that. My son's got the same age.
Well, since nobody's figured out about it, I entertain a motion to go ahead and approve Richard for fire chief of the Milton Fire Station.
I'll make a motion to approve him. Chief.
I'll go ahead and second the motion myself. Motion been made and seconded to go ahead and approve Richard Pollard as fire chief of Milton. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Okay, entertain motion to go ahead and approve the minutes. We've got from June the 2nd, June the 8th, June 13th, and June 19th. I hope you guys read all those. You've been later in the desk row all week. If not, look at them too, and make sure they're correct.
I'll make a motion to approve June 13th, or 2nd, June 13th. I was also ashamed of the other three because I wasn't here. But the other two,
You say the 13th.
yeah. 2nd and 13th.
You made a motion.
2nd and 13th.
Maybe not, okay, honestly.
I can't help that.
Just approving the minutes you agreed to. Don't have to be there.
So we're gonna do one motion to approve them all, or just gonna do them different?
No, we made that motion, we have to do them separate now. I think, don't we?
When you work a little harder.
Motion on the floor.
Okay, I'll second for what he,
Motion been made and seconded to approve the minutes for June the 2nd, 2023, and June the 13th, 2023. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Now I need a entertain a motion for June the 8th and June the 19th to approve the minutes.
I'll make the motion that we approve the minutes for the 8th and 19th.
Guess I'll second it.
So I'll motion been made and seconded to approve the minutes for June 8th, 2023, and June the 19th, 2023. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
Drained you a little bit, didn't I?
Entertain a motion to pay all claims.
I'll make a motion to pay the claims.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to pay all claims for June 9th to July the 6th, 2023. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Okay, do you have anything, Mr. Cedric?
No, sir.
Nothing in your neighborhood going on?
No, my neighborhood's little.
Yeah, I know.
No.
Junior,
No, sir.
Terry?
Robin, want to just kind of update everybody on the trees over there at the arborist coming up?
You
I
want?
don't know. What you talking about? You guys were talking about the other night at the workshop.
Yeah, he said the big tree on the south, it been hit so many times with lightning that it is, there's no doubt, if you bore into it, it's gonna be hard on the inside, so. And the one north's been hit too, but this guy was able to tell him how many times that thing been hit by lightning by looking at the tree. Right down to the T, I didn't know you could do that, he said you could. But they both been hit. That's something we need to think about. Like I said, there's no school hour now to block the wind on those trees, and it's a matter of time when they come down. I don't know what you guys want to do as far as about trying to find somebody to take them down and see what it would cost anyway. Then I guess we can go from there.
I think we'll get bids on it, see what it costs to get them down, then we know what to do.
You want to handle that, or?
I can.
Okay, go ahead and see what bid you can get on it. Get that Terry Junior's gonna handle that.
Okay.
You have anything?
No.
No? I'd just like to thank Amy and her family for getting this going over to school. It's gonna be a plus, and I hope everybody in town gets behind this and backs it, because it's good to see something come back from Milton. Maybe it's gonna be a yearly thing every year, and I look forward to that. We need something to pick it up. With that being said, nobody's got anything to read, you don't have to. I'll open it up to the floor. If anybody's got anything, speak your mind.
I just think maybe you could share what was talked about Thursday night about, because I'd asked about the basketball court. You said how that had grown into something else that maybe
Well, we
everybody
can-
would like to.
We can talk about that. Terry can lead you into that.
Yeah, one is we're taking our ARPA money we got from the federal government. It's been like that for about a year. The county and 7 other communities are putting this all together with kind of different projects. And that was a meeting we had here a while back, was getting ideas from people. A lot of ideas were sidewalks, There's two infrastructure things, a sewer upgrade, which is a small project, and the stormwater. And a separate one from that is IHCDA was doing the creative places matching. And we started off with a basketball court just resurfacing. Well, there's money available where that has grown into a $100,000 park that can be done over there. We've applied for it, and it's looking promising. And we've applied for the sewer upgrade, which is almost $100,000. The stormwater, there was 3 different areas that you could address that issue, and they're going with the second option, which is about $350,000. And we're going after a CBG grant on that, which the money we've got with the county and everything will match half of it. So totally Milton will wind up with about $650,000 if this is all approved. It's been applied for. All the paperwork is going through. We're meeting again next week to go to the next step. It's been a lot of hoops to jump through and a lot of issues, but it's starting to come together. And it could really be good for Milton if it does. I mean, nothing's in stone yet. All these projects will come back to the board to vote on before they start. It will do nothing without board approval.
Would any of that go towards sidewalks?
Sidewalks was one of them that we are dealing with. I think they're about $150,000, which is not a lot of sidewalks, but it's a start. Then there's restricted NVH money that can only be used for reconstruction. So hoping we can take $150,000 and start, and then have the money coming in every year restricted that can continue improving down the road.
Okay. Thank you.
It's something you need to be thinking about too. If we get this approval in the park, we need to set up a park board. We need to set up a committee for ideals, this and that, and you guys are here, you're well informed. I don't know why all of you couldn't be on that committee to help us out, go with your ideals, bring it before the board, and we'll all, and everybody have a say that way.
Definitely need ideas, because we started out, we were just going to resurface basketball court, but it has grown, and the max we can get is $100,000. IHCDA 50, we match 50. So I didn't want to go overboard and get something we couldn't match and lose it all. If you don't match what you agreed to, you don't get nothing. Well, Jeff said he's pushed in some corporate donors, and he's got it down to about $10,000 we would have to come up with. Well, I've got a local sponsor that's willing to go $5,000. So we're getting down where we don't have to come up with a lot of money and come up with a pretty nice park. But so it's going to be a while, probably next summer before it starts, but we need ideas of what we're going to do. Because they're going to start wanting numbers, plans, what do you want to do with it, so we need something we can feed them to keep this moving.
Anybody have anything else?
I'll just try to keep everybody updated as we move on.
Good stuff.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. We can't talk about, for the simple reason is, if we don't get it, we'll be telltale and.
It's nice to know that, what you're working on.
Yeah.
The good thing about this health grant, the county and 7 communities have come together and working with each other. And that's always beneficial.
How often do you guys meet?
There's 1 week we met every day, but normally it's twice a month.
Okay.
Spent 5 days at Ivy Tech down in Connorsville, all in 1 week for training. Oka required that. All state brought in professors, and I don't know about learning so much. It just made a lot of contacts, a lot of people, got to know people, and it really helped that way.
We met more people in meetings than I knew existed in the state of Indiana, to tell you the truth. That people that was empowered to help us that you see every day, I had no idea where they worked for or what they done, and you get there, well, I know you, and oh, I'm in charge of this and this and this, and that's how we get to know most of the people that we run into, and be surprised if you know your neighbor, what they can do for you.
That's it.
Huh?
There's a lot of people out there that help you, if you know where to look and stuff like that.
Well,
And that's probably a lot of them, don't even know who to ask.
Some of these people trade, I've seen every day, and we found out, well, we didn't know you could do that. Did we? Well, the one guy really got you, didn't he? So,
But we had a site visit from Okra, the guy come in here, we had a little meeting, and there've been 2 meetings since then. He's come to me, telling me where Okra's doing, how they're doing our project, so, you know, he's keeping me updated, and just good. Good for Milton.
well, like I said, if you got any suggestions, even before this comes down on the park, whatever you want to do here at school, you know, let us know. Once we get the okay that's going to be there, like I said, we're going to have it. We want a community committee, everybody. You guys ought to be on it, you're here all the time, you know, for that, you know what's going on in the community. Put your input in, we'll all sit down and see what, come up with the best decision, what we think's right for the
A
town.
lot of talk with shelters and picnic tables and stuff. It's all great, we just need to kind of get an idea of what's the cost. Do we have $100,000 to use on that? We're gonna get a lot done with that, because we've got a good start over there. We've got a nice driveway.
Can we get that cleared?
Good one.
All the cars on it?
That's,
It'll be fenced in,
yeah.
it'll be fenced in. That's one thing Dan insisted.
Can we get that cleared before August 5th?
Yep. Rich Tom, I'll talk to Tom on that, he's right there.
Please.
So does anybody else have anything? Who said that to you? Was it you?
No, I said, lucky you.
Oh. With that being said, I ain't entertaining a motion.
Anybody got any questions about this, they hear it, whatever, just call me down here and I'll keep you updated on what's going on.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Nobody has anything else? Y'all would speak out of line.
I'll make the motion we adjourn.
He's not gonna say it.
He's gonna
You
want
want to make the
to-
motion we halfway adjourn?
Sorry, you said it, start talking.
Motion been made, second. We adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody, for coming. We'll see you next time.